There is none. It can be tabled. Question number 10. Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Communications. Is she confident that her government's $300 million investment in the rural broadband scheme has been spent appropriately and effectively?
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, yes I am, because it is on time and on budget. It has seen a 20-fold increase in internet speeds for many rural users. It's part of improving broadband for 97.8% of New Zealanders and is delivering significantly better cell phone coverage across rural and provincial New Zealand. There's more to do, but the RBI represents an incredibly big improvement from the appallingly low base we inherited in 2008.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Does she think having a 55-kilometre fibre cable from Wairoa to Tuai, which has one connection, is delivering more connectivity to rural and regional New Zealand?
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, the fibre funded under the RBI is funded to provide backhaul to sub-sites. The RBI coverage is provided through fibring towers, which then provide fixed wireless service, and then the RBI fibres cabinets, which then provide enhanced ADSL. If that member understood her spokesmanship portfolio, she may know that.
Order. Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why should Genesis Energy get a 55-kilometre cable for its own purpose when nearby Tuai School can't even get a connection to broadband?
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, I can tell that member that all New Zealand schools are going to receive fibre broadband except for our very most remote, which have a different sort of broadband program. All our schools will receive broadband coverage. Otherwise, the rural broadband program provides two components: enhancing copper coverage and fixed wireless componentry to schools, businesses, hospitals, households, libraries across rural New Zealand. And it is a huge step forward from what we inherited in 2008, where the average connection was 0.2 megabits a second.
Supplementary question, Jami-Lee Ross.
What reports has the Minister seen which demonstrate the success of the RBI program?
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr Speaker, I've seen the latest TrueNet testing report, which shows that RBI broadband is 57% faster than standard ADSL, and that RBI fixed wireless is more than 53% faster. I've also seen OECD reports that New Zealand has gone from below the OECD average in 2008 for broadband to now more than 12% above. I've seen reports that tell us 41% of connections in rural areas under Labor were getting speeds of less than 0.2 megabits. That is now going up to 90% of rural connections having 5 megabits or more. Mr Speaker, it is a tremendous step forward from what we inherited.
That's right.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
What is the point of a 55-kilometre fibre cable to nowhere when the local mayor, whose farm is just 75 metres from the cable, was told it would cost him $18,000 to connect just to his gate?
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, the RBI program has never been designed to provide a fibre to the home service. That is the UFB program. Fibre under the RBI is large-scale backhaul, which funds sub-sites. That member clearly doesn't understand the role of fibre under the RBI.
Supplementary question, Clare Curran.
If she is satisfied with the management of the rural broadband scheme, why has she sacked MB from managing rural connectivity after 5 years?
The Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, well, if that member had ever been in government, she would know ministers don't sack ministries, actually. I can tell that member that it was MB who suggested that for the next phase, it made sense that as we moved into the less populated areas of New Zealand, and as the fibre program was going to rural New Zealand, it made sense to have a coordinated program across the UFB2, the RBI2, and one set of relationships with the telcos, and to best use our contracting experience.
Bring
Mr Speaker, it only makes sense.
Point of order.
Order. Point of order, Clare Curran.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave to table two documents. The first is dated September 2015. It's the Wairoa District Council Digital Enablement Plan, two pages.
Second document.
The second document is a speech delivered yesterday by the Minister, which is
Order.
not online. It is not available online. Mr Speaker, it's not available anywhere.
Order. I'll put the leave on the board, accepting the word of...
To a speech in Auckland.
I'll accept the member's words. So leave us sorts tables, a wire internet document and a speech delivered by the Minister. Is there any objection to those two documents being tabled in this House? There is none. They can be tabled. Supplementary question, Tracy Martin.
Kia ora. How can the Minister say she is confident when Northlanders such as Matt Watson of the ITM Fishing Show are struggling to run their award-winning New Zealand businesses from towns such as Kerikeri with snail's-pace, slow, unreliable rural broadband that has dropped to speeds of 0.07 MPS?
The Honourable Amy
Mr.
Adams.
Speaker, well, Mr. Speaker, I can give that member two aspects of that. The first is that Kerikeri is one of the towns that is in line to get a fibre to the home program under this government, under the next tranche. Having rolled it out to 75% of New Zealand, we want to go further. The second, that if that is the speed that the member quotes that business is receiving, they should absolutely advise us, because that will not be a speed delivered under the RBI program. I can assure them of that, and I'm sure we can provide them with a better alternative.
Question number 11, David Seymour.
Thank you.